Let's get a little $20 webcam. Alright, I'm just gonna take this off camera real quick. Okay, so his nose actually is not where I thought it was. Well, it is where it is, but it actually, a little bit of his mask is showing through there. So you can kind of see where I'm doing the highlights on his leg here. Knee, and then the two muscle groups that are on top of his thigh. This is kind of what I'm highlighting. I'm just trying to keep some recesses that are still dark. Curious, how's the lighting on your guys' end? It looks a little dark on mine. Like there's not quite enough brightness. I might see if I can tweak that real quick. Settings. Just bump the brightness up a little bit. Maybe that'll be better. You can kind of see what's going on. It seemed like it was a little dark. This is a case where I'm thinning the paint just a little more than typical. Because on these highlights I want them to be a little more on the smooth side. But it's still not to the point where I'm not getting paint that's not going where I want it. So you want it thin enough that it flows off your brush just like that. But at the same time, you don't want it so wet that it just kind of goes everywhere and you have no control over where it goes. So you can still see it's kind of wet when it comes off the brush. It's not completely totally dried out, which is a good thing. Just kind of work from the knuckles back down. His ears. A different soundtrack. I don't think I've ever listened to this all the way through. Just listened to bits and pieces of it. Speaking of, is that the end of it? Yep, that was. Alright, this is going to be this Mark of Chaos soundtrack. Alright, that's looking good. Again, I'm just kind of looking to see where the edge of his mask is. It'd be cool to do like some kind of like red glazes on their noses to kind of make it look like they're kind of like out in the cold. Seen some really cool kind of like purpley, red, orange kind of highlights on orc skin before. I think that's worked out really well. I can't remember who was painting him. It was like a big regiment of like kind of, I think like Rogue Trader era, like, you know, 80s style orcs, and it just looked beautiful. Like the guy had done like all this like shading to like get the knuckles and everything a different color, and made it look like there was like more to the skin than just kind of like being green. I think it was pretty cool. It kind of gave him like a flesh kind of appearance to him. I think the trick with painting goblins is that you don't want to do too much of like a muscly muscle kind of look to them, because you want them to kind of look a little meaty. You know, like they're not as built as the orcs, so you know, for the orcs I'll do much more kind of like a striated kind of muscle effect to kind of make it look like, you know, each muscle is built up of several smaller kind of bundles. But then for these goblins, I'm just kind of doing like how I'd typically do human flesh. At least not for big ripped muscly dudes. Just kind of smooth transitions and basically pick out the muscle groups individually, but not go overboard on like super detailing or super highlighting any one particular bit. That's one way to imply that there's more muscle than there actually is to kind of take each individual muscle group and split it up into smaller individual highlights on each muscle. I can kind of show you what I'm talking about here in a second. So like, for this orc, like on his bicep here, I've done like 2 or 3 highlights just on that muscle, and kind of the same over here. And that just kind of gives the impression that there's more muscle there than there really is. But I don't think you want to do that for the goblins. I think they want to be a little less pronounced than that. Just gonna kind of run some very thin black brown kind of like down into the recess here, just to delineate that shadow on his arm. Guys have a ton of character on their face. All little furrows and creases and snarls. for some cool painting. I think these will really pop when I get this final highlight on. That like pure Elysian green will just make this just be like BAM! Yeah, I'm liking this green tone. I don't think it needed to be... I don't think I'm going to bother glazing this with anything. Just leave it just the way it is. Just trying to define these muscles that are tucked way up underneath here. I want it to look like they're flat. It's just kind of hard the way the miniature is shaped. My mix is starting to split. It's kind of weird. Might even go so far as to add some very, very kind of bright yellow highlights. Just kind of mix in a little bit of yellow or ivory or something to the Elysian green just to see what kind of pop I can get. I'm gonna try and get his lips here. Kind of hard to see. It's like the camera's blocking it. That's looking pretty good. Just need to touch the underside.